All right, you're here because you want the real story, so let's just get right into it. What we are seeing right now in American politics, it's not just concerning, it's frankly a goddamn outrage. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We dig into what's really happening, and today we're going headfirst into a couple of major ticking time bombs for this democracy.
That's right. And let's start with something that, honestly, it should make every single American, I don't care who you vote for, just furious.
Yeah. What's that?
Over the weekend, there was this clip going around. Donald Trump, he's asked point blank if he feels obligated to uphold the Constitution.
The Constitution, okay.
And his response, I'm quoting here, I don't know.
He said, I don't know.
I don't know. And then, like, this little smirk, and he mentions his brilliant lawyers.
I don't know about the Constitution. That's not some optional guideline. It's the bedrock, the whole damn system.
Exactly.
This isn't just some casual remark. It feels like a mission statement, a blatant, I don't care about the rules kind of statement. And these brilliant lawyers, they're the ones figuring out how to tear it all down, right? This is beyond a red flag. It's a 5-alarm fire for the Republic. Seriously.
Absolutely. And, you know, while that clip got a lot of attention, and rightly so, there's something else happening. It's maybe less flashy, but just as dangerous.
Okay.
It's the systematic gutting of the Federal Elections Commission, the FEC.
Ah, the FEC.
Right.
The referees.
Yeah, think of them like the umpires for our elections. They're supposed to enforce campaign finance laws, keep things, you know, somewhat honest.
Supposed to.
But right now, that umpire has been deliberately taken off the field, sidelined.
Sidelined is putting it mildly.
Yeah.
It's been gutted. Neutered, really.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they don't even have enough members.
Exactly. No quorum.
Right. No quorum. Which means what? No official decisions?
Correct. They can't conduct official business. They can't properly evaluate complaints. They can't levy fines for breaking the rules.
So it's like having traffic laws, but zero police to enforce them. Anyone can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, pretty much. And the timing here is it's incredibly significant. This is happening right when we're seeing this unprecedented flood of dark money pouring into politics.
Especially benefiting Trump and his whole movement, right?
Disproportionately, yes. So dark money, just to be clear for everyone, that's political spending where the donors are hidden. Secret.
You have no idea who's actually trying to pull the strings.
Precisely. And with the FEC basically non-functional, there's a massive lack of accountability.
So like illegal coordination between a campaign and some shadowy outside group.
That's a major concern. Or foreign money sneaking into our elections. These things are much harder to catch, much harder to investigate without a functioning FEC. The deterrent is just gone.
It's like an open invitation to cheat. Massive corruption, potentially.
It creates that environment, absolutely.
Okay, so let's connect the dots for people listening. Why should you, sitting at home, care about some, bureaucratic agency like the FEC being hobbled?
Because it cuts to the heart of whether your vote actually counts for what you think it counts for.
Right. If the rules aren't enforced.
Then it's easier for the system to get skewed.
Yeah.
The voices of, mega donors, billionaires, special interests, potentially foreign ones, and their voices can drown out regular people.
So it boils down to, are our elections about the people's will, or are they just about who has the biggest hidden war chest?
That's the fundamental question it raises, yes. And look, this didn't just happen by accident. The FEC didn't just, stumble into dysfunction.
No, the sources we looked at point to something deliberate.
Very deliberate. For example, Trump fired Commissioner Ellen Weintraub. She's a Democrat, known for actually trying to enforce the laws.
Took out the enforcer, okay.
And then crucially, other vacancies on the commission, including Republican ones that resigned, they just weren't filled.
Leaving them without enough people to actually vote on anything, no quorum.
Strategically preventing a quorum. It's not negligence. It feels like, sabotage.
It's sabotage. It's a classic move you see from authoritarians. You dismantle the checks. You remove the guardrails that are supposed to keep power honest. And the irony here is just, it's thick. Yeah. The FEC was created because of Watergate.
Yeah, after Nixon.
Right. A bipartisan effort born out of scandal to prevent exactly that kind of corruption and abuse of power.
Yeah.
And now you have a president actively tearing down that very safeguard.
Yes.
It makes you sick.
It really does. And it's interesting to think about the lead up to this. We had things like the McCain-Feingold Act. Remember that?
Vaguely. Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act. Trying to limit that soft money.
Exactly. It was an attempt, again bipartisan, to curb some of the influence of huge unregulated donations. But then came the Supreme Court.
Citizens United, 2010.
That was the earthquake. Citizens United versus FEC. The court essentially said, well, corporations, unions, they have free speech rights too, and spending money on politics is a form of speech.
Which basically blew the doors off limits for independent spending and specifically allowed for this kind of dark money group, right? These super PACs and 501c4s.
Yeah. It opened the floodgates. That's the term everyone uses, and it's accurate. Critics warned back then, this is exactly what would happen. A tsunami of cash. And you wouldn't know where it came from.
And the argument was, disclosure will be enough. If people know who's spending, it'll be okay.
Right. Transparency is the disinfectant. But that hasn't really worked out, has it? Especially with these 501c4 social welfare groups that don't disclose donors.
No kidding. So now we've got record spending, election after election, a lot of it totally dark.
Unprecedented levels. And it raises serious questions about, access and influence in Washington. Is policy being written for the donors or for the public?
Does a system awash in secret money truly represent everyone? I mean, the answer seems obvious.
It seems obvious to many, yes. And when you weaken the FEC on top of that, you're taking away the last real line of defense.
The watchdog is muzzled, or maybe even defanged entirely.
So who holds these big spenders accountable if they cross the line? Who investigates?
Increasingly, the answer seems to be nobody.
And let's loop this back to Trump's comments about the Constitution we started with.
Yeah, I don't know.
You see this pattern emerging, don't you? On one hand, a kind of casual disregard for the foundational rules, the Constitution itself.
And on the other hand,
a deliberate dismantling of the mechanisms, like the FEC, that are designed to ensure elections are, at least relatively, fair and transparent.
It paints a really disturbing picture. A system that feels increasingly rigged, vulnerable to manipulation by the super wealthy, and, well, by those who don't respect the rules. So, okay, where does this leave us right now? We've got a president saying, I don't know about the Constitution.
Yeah.
We've got the election watchdog agency deliberately crippled. We've got this absolute flood of dark money washing over everything. Trump's even hinted about, a third term?
He has floated that idea, yes.
Okay.
And these kinds of authoritarian notions seem to be finding fertile ground within parts of his base. It's becoming normalized for some.
So you put it all together, the attacks on election integrity, the gutting of oversight, the dismissal of the Constitution. Are we just, drifting away from democracy?
It certainly raises the question, are we moving towards something more like an oligarchy, where a small group holds power, fueled by this unaccountable money, perhaps centered around a figure like Trump? It's a grim possibility we have to confront.
It is grim. It's easy to feel kind of hopeless listening to all this.
It is bleak. I won't deny that. But, and this is important, it's not the whole story. There is pushback. There is resistance.
Right. There are people fighting this. Grassroots groups, organizations out there trying to counter this dark money tide.
Absolutely. Groups like End Citizens United, for example, they're working on campaign finance reform, trying to amplify regular voices, often, with way fewer resources than the opposition.
Yeah.
And I was struck by something Tiffany Muller from End Citizens United said, the need to channel, quote, righteous anger into action.
Righteous anger. I like that. It's not enough to just be mad online, right? You got to do something.
Engagement is key. And there are concrete ways to push back electorally.
Okay, like what? What can people listening actually do?
Well, look ahead. The 2026 midterms are huge. Winning back the House, for instance, could provide a serious check on this whole agenda, allow for real oversight and accountability.
And it's not just about Congress, is it? State elections matter enormously.
Critically important. Governors, secretaries of state, the people who actually run the elections, attorneys general who enforce state laws.
We saw how vital that was in 2020. People like Jocelyn Benson in Michigan, standing up to the pressure, certifying the results.
Exactly. Those officials are on the front lines of protecting the democratic process. Supporting good people in those roles is vital.
So the takeaway for you listening is, don't just sit there feeling angry or scared.
No, get involved. Find organizations working on campaign finance reform or protecting voting rights and support them if you can. Volunteer.
Even small things, right? Talk to people, your friends, your family. Share reliable information.
Call out the lies and the misinformation when you see it. Stay informed yourself from credible sources and just stay engaged. Don't tune out.
Every little bit really does matter. It adds up. This isn't something we can afford to be passive about.
No, the stakes are too high.
You got it. The integrity of our democracy, maybe the democracy itself, is on the line here. Okay, folks, that's going to have to wrap it for this deep dive. But obviously, the story doesn't end here.
Not by a long shot.
If you value this kind of straight talk and deep analysis, help us out. Like the video, really helps the algorithm. Share it, get the word out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Seriously, click subscribe. And definitely click that notification icon so you don't miss the next update.
Stay informed.
We really appreciate you tuning in. Stay angry, stay engaged. Use that righteous anger. We will catch you on the next breaking news.